also present something about the county legislature and what he is doing there. He can do it also at the end of the meeting, after the second privilege of the floor, for no more than 5 minutes. Second?
I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor? In our planning process in the town of Stanford, we have had a moratorium while a group of people have been looking at revising our original master plan from 1980, and also working on some zoning amendments. The moratorium is going to be running out. We need to set a special meeting for a public hearing to extend the moratorium for 9 more months, at which time I dearly hope that this process will be almost completed, if not completed. There has been a lot of work over the years on our 1980 master plan. There have been a number of committees and groups of people who have worked on this, and any work that goes forward will have to build on what has been done so far. It's not a matter of going back to square one. Right now, the request is simply to set a special meeting for a public hearing. And we need to do that now because we need to vote as a board on extending the moratorium on March 11th, which is our town board meeting. I spoke with Dutchess County Planning this morning. We do need a lawyer, an attorney who will write the local law, because now it is including, as the previous committee talked about, as the previous planner talked about, comprehensive planning as well as zoning. However, they said that while they say they need it 30 days ahead, their turnaround time is really 2 or 3 days, and they will expedite it to get their opinion back to us. So may I make a motion to set a special meeting for Monday, March 8th, for the public hearing for the moratorium local law?
So what we're doing is simply setting a special meeting to have a public
It's just
hearing.
It's just setting the public hearing date.
To extend
right
the
now.
moratorium.
Yes,
Right.
but it's setting a public hearing for it,
Okay.
yes.
Setting a special meeting.
It's called a special meeting of the town board, because it will be our regular workshop.
Right.
Is there a second?
I'll second that. Okay.
I'll second that.
All right, any discussion? All right.
So basically, well, what
Oh,
we're
sorry.
going to
Go
do,
ahead,
though,
no.
when we have that historical workshop, hopefully by that time we'll have the attorney present, so we can.
Absolutely. We should,
Okay, 'cause we gotta-
yes.
well,
That's
that-
going to be enough time? I mean, it's
Yes,
gonna be
there's,
enough time, right?
yes, there is time. There is time. The letter will have already gone to Dutchess County Planning and will be back by that time. If Dutchess County Planning does not look favorably on our extending the moratorium, the town board, if the town board would still like to have, like, overriding a veto in other governmental bodies, it has to be voted on by a supermajority, which is 4 out of 5 of the town board. One more than the majority. But this is just setting the meeting for it, and there is time to accomplish the things we have to accomplish before then. Did we vote?
No.
Okay. All those in favor? Okay. Fire Safety Board appointments. When we appointed all the other committees, we did not appoint the Fire Safety Board. There are 5 people on the Fire Safety Board. Among other things, They deal with the disaster plan for the town of Stanford if something should happen, like a big flood or a big explosion or any kind of disaster, major disaster. Stanford does have a disaster plan. It needs to be looked at and updated and make sure that we're current. But we need to reappoint the Fire Safety Board. The people on it are Dennis Smith, Kathy Spears, Donald Smith, Ed Hoxie, and Robert Stram. The liaison has always been the supervisor, so I will be the liaison to the Fire Safety Board. So, anybody make a motion to reappoint the Fire Safety Board?
They're all willing to serve?
Yes.
Okay. I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor? The next item is the creation of a Farm and Agriculture Board. We have had a CAC for a very long time. Lisa Kilmer, who is head of the CAC, has written a letter making a request that the town board form a Town of Stanford Farm and Agricultural Board. The purpose of the board would be to protect and strengthen our agricultural community here in Stanford. They will focus on keeping agricultural land in production. Another mission, or they would be charged with supporting farms, finding grants, helping farmers survive, and finding grants and other funding. I know whenever anybody is asked, what do you want for the future of Stanford? One of the first questions is we want to preserve our farms, we want to preserve our open spaces. I think this is a very good idea. We do not have to appoint the members of the committee, but tonight we should, if the board is willing, we can vote to form the committee. And then at the next meeting, there can be names presented for the board to consider.
Would that board work in conjunction with the Farm and Home Center?
The board would be an independent board of the town of Stanford, as the planning board is an independent board. They wouldn't work with the Farm and Home Center, but certainly they would. The Farm and Home Center might work with them.
Right.
Let me put it that way. The issues are the same. Education would be the same.
Because I know when I farmed, we used to always use a Farm and Home Center to get bulletins from Cornell
That's
and all that kind of stuff.
The Farm and Home Center is certainly one very good resource for all agricultural committees or groups.
Well, I happen to think it's an excellent idea.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
That's just my personal opinion.
I move that we vote to form a farm and agricultural board for the town of Stanford. Second?
I'd like to.
I'll second.
Okay, I'd like to add to that because we need to. It needs to be clear what they are being charged to do by the board. They're being charged to protect and strengthen the agricultural community, to focus on keeping agricultural land in production.